Hello, everyone, and welcome to By Design with Dr. Erika. Today on our show, I am joined by Brew. Amma is a certified life coach, published author, keynote speaker, and human resources consultant. And today we are chatting about women. Yes, you guys, ladies, we're talking about you. So make sure you listen because we are going to be delving into some of the challenges that we as women, especially women, female entrepreneurs, the challenges of balancing life and career and business. So we're going to talk about that and really understand how we can take the reins back for our own lives. So that's cool with you, Amma. Are you ready?
Yep, I am.
Thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate you joining the show.
And thank you so much for having me.
No problem. So, Amma, let's just jump right into this because I think, you and I kind of have like a similar story a little bit. We both were in that corporate bear machine and kind of living our lives there. When did you know that that sort of entrepreneurial bug was biting you?
Yeah. So the thing is, I've always done some form of business in addition to corporate world. I've always either sold something or done
Ah,
something. But when I got to the point where I realized that combining family with kids wasn't easy. I mean family with kids in the corporate world wasn't an easy thing because when you're in the corporate world there's a lot of demand on you, and to be able to excel and do well and rise, you have to put your all in it. And I'm an overachiever and I had the big vision. I wanted to rise. I didn't want to just be a manager in a corporate. I wanted to move up. But I realized that trying to do that and having a family was tearing me apart, and it wasn't easy. So that was when I realized that it was time for me to do something and move on. And I've always had the dream of starting my own business, as in my own human resource thing or people development thing anyway. But I believe it came earlier than I had thought because at that point I was like, I might as well figure out how I can do what I enjoy doing, but on my own schedule. That way I can still have time for my family.
right,
So
right.
yeah.
No, that sounds very easy. It
Yeah.
sounds.
I know.
Was it that easy, Amma?
No, it was not. It's funny because it took me I'll say about 3 to 6 months to finally make the decision to walk out.
Mm,
That alone wasn't an easy decision because there was a lot of what ifs. Because um if you have stability, why would you want to get out of that stability and go into a world where you're not even sure when your next check is going to come in?
right,
you
right.
know so even just that alone wasn't easy. And after that, getting out of the corporate world, and I started my first business, and I thought that, oh, okay, now that I have my own business, then I'm not going to be stressed out. I'm not going to be burnt out anymore, because at this point I'm running the business in my home. I
Right.
don't even have a commute anymore. But then reality hit me that, oh, this is even worse, because then I was even going through even more burnout.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So that's when I realized that, okay, so now the problem was in the corporate world. The stress wasn't coming from the corporate world. It was me. There was
Mm,
something I wasn't doing right, because sometimes we think that the problem is in a place
right,
when in reality it's in us as people. So
right.
for me, I will say that it wasn't an easy transition, and it wasn't even getting to the point of understanding that even now that I have my own schedule and I have my own business, I still have to figure out a system, that works.
Hmm.
And then also a system that allows me even to keep track of what I'm supposed to be doing and not overwork myself. Because in the corporate world, you have a schedule, but when you're working for yourself, it's you. And if you don't take it, you're going to work 20 hours a week. I
Yeah.
mean, 20 hours a
Right.
day,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would say that it wasn't an easy transition.
Right.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
not.
And you said, it took you about 3 to 6 months to even make that decision.
Yeah.
What do you think happened that helped you finally say, you know what? Okay, the decision is made.
Yeah. So I'll tell you that I was at the verge of a major burnout,
Mm,
that even I would show up at work and I didn't want to be there anymore. I wasn't enjoying it anymore. And I'll tell you, the position I was in is HR is my thing. I love HR, but I wasn't getting that job satisfaction anymore. And I was at the verge of that burnout. I was tired, I was exhausted, and it was affecting everything. And at home, I was tired, exhausted, everything. So that was when I was like, I started doing a lot of thinking. What is more important to me? What are my priorities? What can I let go of? So I started digging and thinking about what to do. And that's when I was like, okay, I'm gonna at least take that break so I can at least focus on the family and then probably start that business that I want to start.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I definitely feel you on that. It seems like it takes like like for me, it was the moment where I wanted to snap on my husband for no reason. Like,
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
there was really no reason. I think he came downstairs
Exactly.
and may have said good morning. And I was like, what do you mean good morning? Something. But it's when it starts to like affect your family life and
Yeah.
your home life that you really
Yeah.
start to reevaluate. So I
Mm-hmm.
definitely feel that. And it's so funny when you were saying working for yourself was going to be easy and no burnout. Yeah, I remember when I first started the business, I was working probably from 7 till like 10 at night every
Yeah.
day,
Yep.
because you
Yep.
get in this mindset of, if I'm at corporate, this is going to sound bad, but I'm going to say it anyway. If I'm at corporate, I can slack off
Yeah.
and still get a paycheck, like I
Yep.
could just, I'm there, but I'm not there. And still
Yep.
get a paycheck. But when you run your own business, you have this, at least I did, when I first started, like, if I don't do it, it's not going to get done and I won't get paid and I won't get clients and it's just me and I have to just run, 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 run.
Yeah.
How did you get over that, or what helped you sort of take a step back and say, this is not going to work?
Mm-hmm. So, I'll say that it's an ever shifting thing
Mm-hmm.
because it's a journey.
Mm-hmm.
So I quite remember when I started, especially when I started my coaching business, I was also running my first business in addition to that.
Okay, so
So
you
I
left
was,
one corporate job that was stressful and was doing two jobs.
yes,
Okay, I just
because
wanted to clarify.
I had one daycare business and I had employed people because I delegation was a key for me. I was like, there's no way I can do everything.
Uh-huh.
But when I was beginning that transition from daycare into coaching,
Gotcha.
I was doing both. So then I had to start thinking about ways I can delegate some of my responsibilities
Mm-hmm.
and all the other things I have to do. So then it didn't, it meant a cut in my profits for my
Mm.
daycare business, but it gave me the relief I needed to be able to focus on the coaching because
Mm-hmm.
coaching is my passion. So, I had somebody who would come in and do a lot of the stuff that needs to be done, and then I would just do a few of the administrative stuff in
Mm-hmm.
addition to, going through my coaching school and building the coaching business. So I'll say that's one of the things that has been very helpful, learning to delegate, learning
Mm-hmm.
to get help.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes, like you said, we want to do everything. We want everything to get done. But the fact that you want everything to get done doesn't mean that everything needs to be done by you.
Right.
And that's the mistake that a lot of us women do, especially women who are in business, women who have goals, women who have big visions and things that we want to achieve. We think that to be able to get that dream to be done, then we have to do every single thing. When in reality, there's so much help around you that you could make good use of to allow you to get to that goal. And sometimes it's even easier when you delegate. It's so
Yeah.
funny because then, oh, you do that for me, you do that for me, you do that for me. I'm just going to be in the middle and make sure that everything is getting done properly. And it makes life easier instead of going hands on and doing everything by yourself.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
So for me, I'll say delegation has been a very big piece. And it's when I say delegation, I'm not even just talking about hiring somebody, because when you're starting a business, obviously you don't have the money to hire a full-time assistant or a full-time secretary or something, but you can figure out, smart ways of getting the value you need in a more affordable way.
Okay.
So I've done a lot of bartering where I'm on social media, I'm all over the place making friends because when you have a good network, then when you need help with something, you can reach out. Hey, I'm trying to do this. I'm having a hard time doing it. Can you help me?
Uh-huh.
And then maybe the other person can go like, hey, I also have a challenge with this. I'm trying to do this. Can you help me? So you kind of like barter,
Mm-hmm.
help. You all help each other. So I also call people like that your business best friends. You
Right.
need to have business best friends, people
Right.
that you would reach out to if you need help with stuff. And then also doing things like, outsourcing things. Outsourcing is an easy way of getting the help you need, because then if you need something to be designed in your network, if you have a designer in your network, she may not charge you the full price of what she would charge somebody out of the blue, so you can strike a good deal, which is valuable, and then you outsource all the graphic design stuff to them.
Right.
So doing little things like that for me, I'll say, has been the game changer for me, and has allowed my business to grow fast. Because if I was to sit and try to do everything by myself, I don't think I would have done even 10% of what I've done now.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So there's something that comes to my mind when you say sort of the bartering process, right? And I'm curious to know, because you are a coach for women and trying to sort of bring balance back into their lives, right?
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
do you find that bartering is easier, or is it easier or more difficult when you're bartering, how do I say, not tactical services, but like copywriting is something you can actually see, graphics are something you can see. As a service coach, is it more difficult to find those bartering paths if you don't have something like tactical?
Yeah. So the thing is that when you're service based, definitely the coaching itself will be hard to give, to
Hmm.
somebody, but definitely you would definitely have something that you do, because until you thought about bartering, I'm sure you were doing your own bookkeeping, you were doing your own everything. So um in terms of bartering, let's say for example, um I need help with, let's say, graphic designing. But I'm also very good at editing videos, because I edit all my YouTube videos, even though I'm not a professional. I'm good at it.
I saw
Yes,
your
I do
YouTube. You
everything.
have music and photo. It's
It's
lovely.
me. It's all me.
Okay.
It's all me. I haven't yet outsourced it yet because I can't afford it, So I do all that by myself. So I have a girlfriend who also just started, and she's not even coaching. She's just doing a nonprofit,
Uh-huh.
you know. So she needs help she can't figure out what she wants to do. It's like she has all the ideas, but she can't really figure it out. So you know what we're doing? She's helping me with my promotion, in the sense of, she takes my stuff and she's putting it all over the place, and she's doing all that. And I'm helping her with consulting, because I'm helping her to figure out how she can structure her business. So that's
Gotcha.
a service I can offer her, and she's doing the other side. And then with the videos, when she does her videos, she sends them to me, and I
Gotcha.
can just check it. Hey, what can we add? What can we just add sprinkle a little bit of salt on it, make it look good, and I send it back to her. So this is how we are helping each
Okay.
other. So, because for me, I hate social media, having to sit there and have to like everything, and it stresses me out.
Right.
So she does that for me. She helps me with my promotion, and then I help her by giving her advice, because she's like, hey, I want to do this, what do you think? Then I walk her through, okay, let's do it this way, I think you should do it this way. So that's me using what I am good at to
Mhm.
help her, and she's using what she's good at to help me. When
Oh,
it comes to graphic design, I couldn't find somebody to do it for me for free, but I found somebody who does it for me at a very minimal cost.
okay.
So, and I'm in her group, so I'm like number one contributor in her group. As soon as she posts something, I'm there. I'm commenting on it. Because I'm like, I need to give her the support she
Right.
needs, while she's also doing this for me at a very minimal cost.
Yeah.
So when I talk about barter, I'm talking about little things like that.
Okay.
And imagine, I do Canva. I learned Canva. When I started, I learned how to use Canva to do my own design. But at some point I was like, no, I'm tired. I can do
Right.
everything. So even having that, liberty to outsource a lot of the designs that I do, like the big designs to hair, like my book design and all that, makes it very easy.
Right. It frees you
So
up.
Exactly. If I
What?
like the word, it frees
Okay.
me up some of the time so I
Mhm.
can dedicate that time to something else.
Right.
So
Right.
that's what I mean by bartering, and you won't find everything you need in one person. That's why you need business best friends, make connections. And a lot of the people that are helping me, I haven't even met them face to face. I don't know them.
Okay.
Yes, I'll tell you. The people who have helped me move forward in business are people that I haven't even met face to face. We connected in some way, either on a podcast or in a social media group or on my page or on their page. And we just, we share similar visions.
Uh-huh.
We connected, and then it's like we are just supporting each other. So now I'm so much into supporting people because I'm like, these are people who don't even know me, and they're so supportive. So I am also really supporting people. So
That's
sometimes, and that's one thing I tell ladies, like sometimes when we start something, we think that our immediate friends and families may be the one to support, but sometimes in reality, it's people who don't even know you who would
right.
see the vision and want to help.
Yeah.
So you have to go out there and try to connect and make friends. Connect, networking is very important.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
like that. I like, and to your point of the whole bartering and sort of working together as a community, but also
Yeah.
supporting them
Yep.
in their endeavors, I think is a key thing that some people may miss out on. They may just do the barter, but not, do the
Yep.
extra amount of supporting. So I'm glad you
Yep.
brought that up. Yes.
And when I talk about support, sometimes it might not necessarily you going all out to do a lot of things, but just liking something that
Hmm.
this person posted. Because sometimes people post stuff on social media and nobody is liking it, but in reality, this is good stuff. So there's some people that sometimes I don't even read what they've posted. I just like it
I
because
just,
I'm like, this is my support for you.
yeah.
I don't want you to, post something and nobody. So the people on my list or people in my head that I know that I've made connections with, when I see
Mhm.
anything they post, I'm liking it.
Yeah.
I'm liking it because it's my support for them. That's at least one just hitting that like button or that subscribe button is not going to help me in any way.
Right.
So
Right.
I would do it for you to feel like, hey, there are people watching me. I've seen it. Because there are lots of people who see what you post or what you do and they won't even comment, but they've seen it, but just to show that support by liking it even makes this person feels okay, that okay, at least somebody saw it,
Hmm.
I'm gonna keep doing it. So
Right. Right.
yeah.
Okay. I love that. Now, when you said delegation, I'm going to be honest. One word popped into my head as well with
Yeah.
delegation: control. And I
Yep. Yep.
people hear
Yep.
delegation, they're like, I can't let go of this. It's my baby. How do
Yeah.
you suggest to women to be able to let go?
Yeah. And it's so funny because that's what a lot of the women that I coach have a big problem with, that the control part. And usually it's not even just in their business or in their career, but in their life, in their family life, in a lot of things.
Right. Because Alma,
Um,
my way is the best way.
Exactly. And nobody can do it the way I can do it.
Right.
And I don't trust anybody to do it as I want it to get done. So then I would just stick with it and do it by myself and get stressed out about it and get burnt out with it. And then start getting frustrated with it and start feeling resentful and unhappy. And that's when you go down that road. And it's like at the end of the day, I still got it done, but I'm not even happy with it anymore because it took so much out of me to get it done. So then was it even worth it?
Right.
And a lot of us women feel like that. Then after we've achieved that big goal, we're so resentful
Hmm.
because the journey to achieving that goal wasn't enjoyable because we pushed ourselves so hard and we were not ready to accept help.
Right. Right.
And that's one of the biggest characteristics of the woman with the superwoman syndrome.
Pushing
Yeah.
themselves and not ready to accept.
Pushing ourselves and not ready to
Yeah.
accept help.
Yeah.
But one thing I always tell a lot of my clients, one of my clients owns a daycare business, and she does the business is growing, but she still can't hire the help.
Mm.
And she has a big vision of growing it. So I asked her one simple question: how do you think life is going to look like when you're finally able to hire somebody or even get help a couple hours a week and train this person to do what you do? How do you think life is going to look like? That's one simple question I ask women when they don't want to let go of that control. I'm not saying just let this person start, but train the person, let the person understudy you for a
Hmm.
little bit and, gradually relinquish that control. How do you think life is going to look like? And usually what I get, I remember this client, she was like, I'm going to have a lot of time to myself. Then I can start looking at the bigger goals, because she has the vision, but she can't move because she's stuck doing everything hands on, So what I usually tell women, or I'm able to ask questions to allow women to get their own insights into realizing that when we are able to let go of that control, by getting people and training them to do what we do. They may not do it perfectly, but at least they can get us away from doing everything all by ourselves, and that we can stay back and manage them. Managing, you can at least supervise what you're doing. That gives you more room and more time for yourself to go for bigger things and to relax also and take time off for yourself. So it is a hard thing, and it takes a lot of courage to let go of that control. But the thing is that you won't be able to move forward until you let go of that control.
Right.
So let's say if you have a business and you're doing everything and you have other things you want to achieve, but because you're so stuck in that one thing that you're doing all by yourself, there's no way you would have the chance to move forward and even move on to do bigger things. For your business to grow and for you to do big things, you need to start building a team. You need to start getting people in to do the little things and the hands-on stuff whilst you move on to, get the bigger things done. So we need to let go of that control, and it's a hard thing. And trust also plays. That's why before we delegate, the one thing I always say, you don't just delegate to just anybody. You have to delegate to somebody who is capable. That's one thing. Who is highly motivated and who you can trust.
Yes.
Because if you delegate to somebody that you can't trust, who is not capable, who is not motivated, it's going to frustrate you more. That's when it's like, you have to be on this person to get the job done. You can't trust this person. So you can't even take things off your mind, when this person is on the job doing your stuff for you. So before you finally decide to delegate to somebody, these are the three main things that you really have to think about, and make sure that the person you're delegating to has these three characteristics.
Right.
And that's going to make it easier for you to let go of that control.
Okay. And I
Yeah.
can imagine, even in the process of delegating and letting go of the control, there's probably a little bit of guilt there as well, for the women.
Yeah. Yeah. Guilt is one of the biggest things. One of the people that she's a past client, and she was a medical doctor, trying to write an exam. She had a 2-year-old. She had a 2-year-old with her at home, trying to homeschool the 2-year-old in addition to everything else. And then she was working overnight on the weekends.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. That's a lot. So when she reached out to me, she was like, I feel guilty, especially the guilt was even coming with, I feel like I'm not doing, I want to do, I have a vision of what I want life to look like, but I feel guilty that I'm not giving my best to my son, and I'm not doing this, I'm not doing, so we went through the whole thing, and we realized that that guilt was taking over her. And because of that, she couldn't let go of the control, over everything. But when we finally tried it, I told her, let us try it. Let's just try it. Let's at least let one thing go. She was able to delegate her son, put her son in a daycare program, and doing just that thing gave her the relief that she needed, because now her time during the day was all freed up. She had at least 8 hours a day to herself,
Mm.
where she could take a nap, she could study for her exam, she could relax, there's no child, and yes, she was paying for the daycare, but it took away that stress, that extra stress. So, and then she started feeling like, okay, there was no need for me to feel guilty here, because there's nothing to feel guilty about. My son is in school, he's getting whatever he needs, and so now I can also focus on everything else that I have to do. So the guilt usually I call that the battles of the mind. Sometimes our minds play games on us, and we start thinking, hey, yeah, if I don't do it, if I don't do everything by myself, then I'm not good enough. If I take time off to rest and give this thing to somebody else to do, then I failed as a woman. And that's a lot of imposter syndrome, then all these things. But walking the client down, or walking people down that road of analyzing the situation, to realize that you don't have to feel guilty here, because you haven't done anything wrong.
Right.
Yeah, you're rather, allowing somebody else to do the thing for you somebody, okay, let me put this way, you're rather allowing somebody who is more capable or even, more qualified to do that part of the thing that you're trying to delegate so that you can also focus on other things. And then your health is also very important because when you delegate, then you can also at least take a breather, not overstress yourself. So when we look at the positive sides of all these things, then, a lot of clients are able to get that insight. So usually it's the insight. We need a client to have the insight.
Mm-hmm.
They get that insight to realize that, okay, there's no need for me to feel guilty here. Why am I being so hard on myself? Why
Mm-hmm.
am I thinking I'm doing something wrong? I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm just getting the help to get things done. And me accepting help doesn't mean that I have failed, because that's also one thing. Sometimes the guilt also comes with failure. Then we feel like because I wasn't able to do everything all by myself, it means that I'm a weak woman. It means that I have failed. And usually a lot of those images comes from even our growing up,
Yeah.
because sometimes our culture, our society has schooled us into thinking that the perfect woman or the ideal woman should be able to do this and do that and do that and do all these. And there's a long list that every ideal woman should be able to do. When in reality, every woman has her, I always say, her capabilities and her skills and her limits and her abilities. So the fact that you're not able to do everything all by yourself doesn't mean that you failed. If you have put in your best at it, and this is what you were able to get out of it, don't look down on yourself. You have done your best.
Right.
So a lot of these things really cause a lot of mental stress and a lot of battles of the mind for a lot of women. But again, insight is very important. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free.
Yeah.
So when you get that insight and you realize that, okay, there was nothing wrong here, then you're able to go with your truth, your newfound truth,
Mm-hmm.
and get what you need and get a delegation done and do whatever you have to do to give you some rest and
Right.
get you to relax. Yeah,
Yeah. It's all about the thoughts and what
exactly.
you're
It's in the
thinking.
head. Yep.
Exactly. How you're thinking about it. And are you just
Yep.
looking at the negative side of it, to your point? Or are you thinking about
Exactly.
the alternatives and the
Yep.
benefits, or the positive side of it?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And when you say delegation, I also think about automation. That's like my favorite thing.
Yes.
I
Yes. Yes.
need good automation in my life as well as delegation to help me sort of
Hmm.
bring back
Hmm.
that time that
Yeah.
I'm losing.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I want to touch base a little bit on you, I mean, from your experience. You talked about being a mom and a wife and having business. How, beyond delegation, how else do you sort of find balance and calm among the chaos of life and entrepreneurship?
So let's talk about, let's forget theories, everything. Usually with me, I have learned to be more mindful. And then also I've learned to be more self-aware. So I'm at a point where I'm able to tell, how am I feeling at this point? Am I tired? Am I stressed out? What do I need to do to relieve myself of some of the stress? And I'm a night owl. That's the thing. Yes. To be able to write and get things done, I have to stay up a little late
Mhm,
because that's when I get my flow.
mhm,
And so I've learned to pace myself in the sense that imagine if I have to stay up every night, then that is wrong because I'm going to get burnt out. But, if I stay up, maybe like last night, I slept very early, but the night before, I stayed up a little late. So I try to alternate,
okay,
So I found my own system that's
right,
working for me. So tonight I might stay up a little late because last night I slept very early and I was able to catch up on my sleep. But tomorrow night I'm not going to stay up late because I don't want to burn myself out. So finding that those little, the little groove that works for me. So I'll tell you that, identifying a system that works for me so that I don't feel like I'm getting burnt out. Because usually when I stay up 2 nights in a row, by the third night, I'm done for the week. But when I'm alternating, then I'm good to go because I stay up tonight. I'm gonna stay up till like 12. And even that I told myself by 12 midnight, I'm done. I'm going to sleep and wake up at 7. So I got 7 hours of sleep right there. I'm not going to sleep and wake up at 5 a.m. No, that's not going to work because I know that my body needs at least 7 hours of sleep. So if I sleep at midnight, I'm going to wake up at 7 a.m. And when I wake up at 7 a.m., I have to get my kids ready for school, get them ready for whatever they have to do, drop them off, do whatever I have to do. By 10 a.m., I'm free and I can do whatever I have to do. And then that means that because I slept at 12 midnight, then that the next night I'm going to sleep early, very early, so I can catch up. So it's I've developed my own system that works for me. But for a woman out there, I always tell people that what we do as women either drains us or fills us of energy. So identifying what our fillers are and what our drains are is very important, because sometimes our schedule is full of activities that drains us. So from Sunday to Sunday, we are only engaging in activities that drain us, and that's how we get burnt out. But when we are able to identify things that fill us up and we incorporate them into our schedule, then it makes it easier. So let me give you an example. Usually when I'm just working on my computer, I have my worship music or my something going that kind of like it's feeding my soul and feeding my mind whilst I'm working. So that's a way of incorporating a filler into my day. So that's one thing that I do. When I'm in my car, I have something going. It's either a podcast or some worship music or something that's filling me up whilst I'm driving. And that's my way of getting what I need. Because if I'm going to wait for the time to be right before I actually go and sit and say, okay, I'm listening to this music or I'm listening to this podcast, it's never going to happen. So I try to incorporate these things into my day. And at night when my kids go to sleep and I'm, doing whatever I have to do, I'm making sure that I'm doing something that's also filling me up. So usually at the end of everything I have to do, I hop under the shower. I'm staying there for 30 minutes because that's my way of relaxing. Just the hot water, the warm water going on my face and me relaxing. Usually while I'm doing that, I also have something playing in the bathroom. So these are all little things that I do. I wish I could take a vacation. I wish I could take a 2-week vacation, but I haven't been able to do that. But these little things keep me going. They keep me going. They keep me filled up. And last weekend, I told my husband, I'm taking the day off. So Saturday, I slept in. I slept till, I think I woke up around 11 a.m.
Oh, wow.
Then,
Really
yes,
slept in.
yes, because I was tired. I was so exhausted. So 11 a.m. And then I had a coach. I had my group coaching at 11:30. So I just woke up, ate my breakfast, went downstairs, did my group coaching. When I went back upstairs to my room because I was bent on having that day off. Went upstairs to my room, just took it easy, did what I had to do. And by 5 p.m. I was done. So I came downstairs and then I helped him with the kids and all that. I'm just giving this as an example of, I knew at that point that I really needed that day off, because if I hadn't taken it, it would have eaten into this week, because I would have brought the stress from last week into this week. So getting to that point where we know what we need and how we feel in the moment is what is very important, and then identifying things that we do that fill us up, and then incorporating them into our day, little bits and pieces at a time, is also one very important thing. And that's what has worked for me, because I have kids. I have 3 kids under 6. So I have twin boys. Yep, I have twin boys and I have a daughter. So you can imagine.
Yeah.
And I'm a minister's wife, managing a business. Yeah. So you can imagine all these things that I have to do. But getting that awareness, and now making it my priority that wellness is very important to me, because until I got into this whole wellness industry, that wasn't even part of my vocabulary. But now I'm so aware of it. So everything I'm doing, I'm asking myself, how is this going to impact me? How am I going to feel at the end of doing this? What can I do to allow this to be a lot easier, or allow life to be a lot, holistic, so that I'm not burning out? And it's a priority for me now, because I know that if I am well, then I'll have the energy to give out to everything else and to everybody else that, I have to take care of.
Yeah, I like that. It's really about knowing yourself.
Exactly. The
And
self-awareness is very
yeah, yeah,
important. And it might be different for everybody. I tell people
right,
my self-care, I just explain to you things that I do. That might not be what's going to work for you.
right.
So that's why you have to do your own introspection and think about it for yourself and figure out a system and what works for you. And that's actually what I do for my clients,
Mhm.
where we look at your unique circumstance and what your situation is and figure out something that's going to work for you. For
Right.
somebody, it might not be sleeping. For me, sleeping is my number one go-to. I can sleep all day, but for somebody, maybe it might not be sleeping. It might be going for a jog or going for a run or going to the mall. For me, sometimes just walking around the mall is also therapy for me.
Mm.
I'm not buying anything, but because I'm an extrovert, so just having that contact and smiling and saying hi to people is enough to make me feel good. Getting out of my usual environment and just going to the mall. But with coronavirus, we can't do that. So
Yeah.
yeah, so just ask yourself, what are the things that I can do to fill myself up? And I'm not even talking about things that you have to buy. I didn't mention anything about buying anything for myself. I'm very frugal. So, I'm not saying go buy anything for yourself, but figure out little activities that you can incorporate into your day and little things that you can incorporate into your day that would allow you to fill yourself up as a woman. And just 10 minutes here, 5 minutes here, 2 minutes here, but being self-aware and realizing that this is my goal. I want to start this journey and I want to start taking care of myself more. That's even going to allow you to know when you have a bit of time to do something that fills you up.
Hmm. I love
Yeah.
that. And mine is I have to have one day a week where I get extra snuggle time in the morning. Like
Yeah.
we get out of bed, we stay in bed an extra 30 minutes and just lay
Exactly.
there and just spend time with my husband.
Yeah.
That's for me. But like to your point, it's about finding your own thing. We hear all the time these gurus that say you have to do at 5 a.m. this and 6 a.m. that. And it's not realistic. Everybody's
No.
life is different,
No.
you know.
Exactly.
And I would
Exactly.
say give it time
Yeah.
because I think a lot of people go into it and they say, well, this is what my routine is going to be. And you have to give it time you have to figure out what works. It may change, you may need to tweak it,
Mm.
but
Yeah.
don't be so regimented in the
Exactly.
beginning until
Exactly.
you give yourself time to figure it out.
Exactly.
I like that.
Exactly. I'm so happy you mentioned that because I realized that a lot of us women are trying to fit into this. It has to be done this way. A morning routine. You need a morning routine. And like you said, the gurus will come and tell you it has to be this and it has to be that. But when in reality, if your situation is not a good fit for that thing, don't force yourself to do it if it's not working.
Right.
I'm a big example of it. For a long time, I tried doing a morning routine, and I realized that's when I came to the reality that I'm a night owl. I function better at night. I'm able to do things better at night. I can clean better at night. I can, write better at night. So why am I boxing myself down into a morning routine when it's not working? How about I flip myself around and say that instead of waking up at 5 a.m. trying to do a morning routine, how about I rather sleep a little later so that I can actually sleep in
Mm-hmm.
and wake up at 7? So I figured out something that works for me. And for some people, it might be an afternoon routine. A client of mine can do the morning, can do the afternoon, can do the evening, but can do an afternoon because in the afternoon, she has a good time, about an hour or two to herself that she can actually put in something into herself. So everybody's situation is like that. There are times when I'm also able to wake up in the morning and do something. And it's funny because sometimes I would do it for like a month. It works, and then at a point it's not working. So then I'll transition into the evening or the afternoon. So we need to be versatile. We shouldn't say that because I said I do an evening routine and it's always going to be evening, because there are times when you'd also want to wake up in the morning and do something. That doesn't make you a bad person.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So being
Right
rigid on
now.
ourselves, and that's how we're so hard on ourselves as women.
Yeah.
We're so hard on ourselves. We should give ourselves a break sometimes
Yeah.
and go with the flow sometimes. That doesn't mean we should take advantage of it and not have structure. But
Yeah.
let's have the structure, but be dynamic and adaptive where we can, change it if it needs to be changed.
Right.
And that's how when things, when life becomes unpredictable, a lot of us women have challenges in coping because in our head, we are so rigid and hard on ourselves, and especially with this corona thing going on and life being so unpredictable and we don't even know what's going to happen next. Is there going to be a lockdown? Is there going to be this? We women need to be dynamic and understand that, yes, things may change, but we can go with the flow and we can find our time in the midst of all the chaos to give to ourselves, whether it's morning, afternoon, evening, midnight, whatever works at that time, you go for it and you take advantage of it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
it. Like
Hmm.
so looking into 2021, we're coming up on New Year or in the new year or whatever. In 2021, where do you see I'm a Brew,
Yay,
empowered balance?
I'm a bird, empowered for balance.
Yeah. Where do you see yourself?
Yes, yep. So, like I said, now a lot of the things I do is me. I'm a solopreneur. I'm doing almost everything by myself. I try to outsource, but my vision and my hope is that I can build a team, hopefully get one or two people on board
Mhm.
so the business can grow, because I'm at the point where it's like I'm drowning. It's not easy. So I'm hoping to at least build a team in 2021. We have a podcast that we just launched.
Yeah.
So it's funny because I was gonna release it in January. Then I thought about it and I was like, this is the time where a lot of people are trying to, set goals and make decisions about what they want to do next year. So how about releasing it a little earlier so that people can at least use that information to help them set the right goals? So we just released it yesterday,
And so on
and
YouTube, and
it's on YouTube and it's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor. It's on, I think, 8 platforms,
okay.
8 podcast platforms, and
And
it's empowered for balance on YouTube and everywhere. Yeah, and even on social media. So that's one of the biggest things, and I'm hoping that this can continue, where we are giving people weekly doses of strategies and information to allow them to shift from burnout to balance.
awesome.
So that's the number one thing. And then I have a book coming up for next year also.
In
I released
2021.
one book this year, yep, and then there's one coming up next year too. So that's another thing. Yep.
Lots going on for Empowered for Balance. I love it.
Yep.
Be sure to check out that podcast, guys. You will
Yeah.
use those strategies that Alma has for you. So,
Yep, yep. And it's not just me.
ah,
I have professionals, other professional women
okay.
who are equally like us, busy women with busy schedules, but also coming on to share their own strategies about different issues of life,
Right.
in relation to stress and burnout and life balance.
Love it.
So,
Love it.
yeah.
Awesome.
Hmm.
Well, Alma, thank you for sharing all those wonderful nuggets of information about delegation and just really knowing yourself. That was awesome. As always, when we're coming to the end of our show, we have our Fab Four for our guest. So if you are game, Alma,
Yep.
we'll go ahead and get into those. So just whatever comes to your mind.
Okay.
Don't think too hard about it.
Okay.
All right. First one, what's the strangest food you've ever eaten?
um, Fresh meat.
Fresh meat.
Yeah, gazpacho and fresh meat. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Like it. All right. Number two, if you had a magic wand, what three things would you change about the world?
Um, am I thinking too hard?
You can.
If I had a magic wand, I'll change poverty. Nobody should be poor.
Yes.
Yeah, poverty will be number one. The second one will be um racism.
Mm.
Yeah, I believe everybody should be treated equally. And the third thing I would change would be the amount of time we have in our day.
You want more hours in the day?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know where that one came from, seriously.
You're on your own with that one.
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know where that one came from.
We'll
Just
take it.
came.
We'll take it. All right. Number three, if
Oh
you had
dear.
to write a book about yourself, what would you name it?
Um, Resilience.
Mm,
I'll name it Resilience. Yeah.
got it.
The comeback of Brew.
Ooh. I like that. Resilience, the comeback of Brew. We're going to be waiting for that at the end of 2021. Thank you.
Oh dear.
Okay. And the last one, just finish the statement. I am.
I am empowered, confident, lovable, made in the image of God.
All right.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for being here. I know you already shouted out the podcast and where they can find that. If they're interested
Mhm.
in working with you or just following you, what are your social media sort of touch points as well?
Yeah, so everything is empowered for balance all across Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. That's funny. I do Pinterest. I love it. Yeah. So
Really?
Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. Yep. And then my website is www.empoweredforbalance.com. So just Google Empowered for Balance, and I'm sure you're going to find something about me that shows up there.
Okay. I'm going to have to go to
Mhm.
your Pinterest page. You're the first person that's ever said Pinterest.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
That's like therapy for me, Pinterest. So I create those pins by myself, and I love Pinterest. It's very therapeutic.
Okay. Check out the Pinterest page, guys. So I'm going to thank you again for being here. As always,
Okay.
guys out there listening, thank you for joining us. If you haven't subscribed to the show, subscribe. We're on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Buzzsprout. So be sure to do that. And if you haven't made your way over to the website, drerikabydesign.com, head over there, sign up for our By Design Digest so that you can stay up to date with what's going on. That's all we have for you guys. Thank you so much for joining. Bye.